Welcome back to Better Living. Well, joining us now, one of my favorite individuals that I've met here since I've moved to the Glass City. We have Lieutenant William Bowers with us now. So nice to see you again.
Good morning. How are you?
I'm doing very well, thank you. And I'm sure, hopefully you are. I know you've been busy lately.
Yes, it's been very busy. It's been a busy winter.
Yes, I'm sure it has. You know, but I want to go ahead and start off right now. Speaking of wintertime, you have a partnership going on right now with ODOT.
Yes, we have a very good relationship with our local ODOT facilities, and we work with them on a regular basis.
So what are you working on right now? I know we do have some construction zones out there.
Right, the different construction zones. I work closely with ODOT, finding what the changes are going to be in the construction zones, what different restrictions are going to be put in those construction zones. And that way I can lead my officers to work those areas or not work those areas.
Right. And when it comes to us driving, and I know I try to be as careful as possible, or at least move over and try to get into the far lane so I'm not close to that work that's going on there in the zones. What should we need to know as drivers?
Number one, when you're driving in a construction zone, you need to pay attention to the signage and the laws that are set up for those construction zones, i.e. the speed limits, not changing lanes while you're in the construction zones. That's the most important. They've done a lot of work to determine those restrictions. But also when you're in construction zones, make sure you're not, you increase the distance between the vehicle in front of you. It's, you have to be able to react to that vehicle if they have to make a sudden stop, if something happens in front of them. And all too often we see that cars packed in on top of one another, and next thing you know, we have a mess when there's one accident. You don't want to be that driver that ruins the commute for the whole city, because if we have something that happens on, whether it's 280, 475, it affects the rest of the interstate in the area.
Any extra caution that we need to take at nighttime? I know sometimes you have the workers out there working in the middle of the night.
It's the same thing. Okay. Pay attention to the speeds. Make sure you're giving, I can't stress it enough, give that extra space in that vehicle ahead of you, and basically expect the unexpected. Make sure you're not talking on your phones. Make sure you're not texting while driving. Obviously, that's against the law. But remove any distraction when you're, at any time when you're driving, but especially when you're in a construction zone. And
you know, we always hit on texting or being on the phone. What about, again, I see people do this all the time, and I hate to say I'm guilty of it, eating in my car or putting on a touch of lipstick. Absolutely.
We always talk about texting and driving as the main distraction, but anything you're doing in that vehicle other than paying attention to the road and your hands on the steering wheel is a distraction, whether it's eating, putting on lipstick, dressing, adjusting the radios, or any of that type stuff is a distraction. You need to limit those as much as absolutely possible.
What is that, 10 and 2? Our hands are supposed to be 10 and 2.
Yeah.
I remember that from driver's ed. Kind of switching gears just a little bit, we just finished up Super Bowl weekend. I hope you were able to enjoy some of the game.
Some of it.
Some of it. What did you see as far as impaired driving? I know you guys teamed up with TPD.
Yes, we had a big media event on Friday, and that was actually very informative. We got a lot of positive feedback for that. But we also worked with Toledo Police Department starting Thursday night into Sunday, and we removed, I think it was 15 impaired drivers over that time period. Obviously, the winter storm helped us out a lot there. I would expected the numbers to be a lot higher had the winter storm not come in.
Well, and I'm sure that kept a lot of people home. I know downtown was deserted.
Yes, the traffic was minimal. Right. At best.
And speaking of that, kind of switches me over to driving in such conditions that we have. What do we need to know, or what are you guys watching out for right now as we continue to have snow systems come in? Well,
it's the typical things that we look for. We look for defects on vehicles. We look for aggressive driving, anything like that. But there's a lot of precautions you can take in this time of year, especially inspecting your vehicles. Make sure you have good tires. Make sure your lights are all working properly. That's all very important stuff when you're driving in decreased visibility situations.
And I always say, we try to keep this in mind, but when we're out on the roads, we're trying to get to our destination of the day. You just want to get there, and you're really not thinking about staying that one car length behind the car in front of you.
Yes.
And it's really important to do that when you have to stop suddenly.
Right. In adverse weather conditions such as a snowstorm, you need to increase that to like 4 or 5 cars. It's whatever distance you have, you need to multiply it several times because you just don't stop as fast, and things happen a lot quicker when the weather's bad.
And I'd say that it does. Well, what's next? What are you guys doing right now or gearing up for maybe Valentine's weekend?
Well, right now we're really working on crash reduction efforts, whether it be in the construction zones, whether it be in other parts of Lucas and Fulton County. Really concentrating on the aggressive driving and the impaired driving, and then obviously the seatbelt violations.
And that's definitely big. You want to have that seatbelt on. That is a life-saving measure that, again, is so necessary.
I don't think people realize just how effective the seatbelt is at reducing injury and or saving lives.
You're so right about that. Well, for drivers who need to maybe have a kit in their car this time of year, what do they need to have in their vehicle?
A blanket. Maybe some extra snacks. If you have access to get road flares are always really nice. Bottled water, something that's not non-perishable items. And make sure your cell phone's charged.
So true. Get a car charger just to be on the safe side.
Yes, absolutely. If in the event that you do run into some problems and you need our assistance, you can always call 911 or pound 677. That'll ring directly into the Highway Patrol, and we'll get somebody out there to help you out as soon as possible.
Well, we can't thank you guys enough for what you do and, you know, keeping us safe, and hopefully we can help you in the meantime as well.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Lieutenant Bowers, thanks again. All right, stay with us. We have just a little bit more coming up right here on Better Living.